All right, welcome everybody. Hope you're having a great day. Today's going to be a little bit different. We're going to actually sit and spend some time going over patterns and ways we can trade them, what they are, entry, exit ideas. Then we'll kind of talk a little bit about the correlation between Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance and how that's going to affect your trading. We'll go over I want to go over a lot of stuff and then I'll edit this later and make a shorter version of it. So we're just going to break a bunch of stuff down today and then I'll clip through it and we'll see what we can make happen. Hope everyone's having a great day. Thanks for being here. The bird is saying hello. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is this bit of chaos here that you're seeing. And we're gonna break down exactly what I was talking about or what I was sharing the other day in the trading group, and how you're supposed to look at this stuff and trade these ideas. So basically, we were looking at this falling wedge idea. I have it here. All right, so we started out and we were looking at this curve. So we're looking for a push up. Maybe not all the way up, but we were looking for a push up to test these levels again, as we did. So the next one here, we did go up and run those levels. So at that point, we're looking at this falling wedge idea, and we're seeing all this volume come in at the bottom of this area here, right? We have multiple touches along this area. So obviously, people are paying attention, volume's picking up here. Okay, so our idea is we're looking for an entry at the bottom of this pattern, or we're looking for an entry at the breakout and the retest of this pattern. Right now, we hold this curve idea and we get another push up to this level. So again, at this point, we're looking, if we do break through, we're looking at a retest entry. If we don't break through, we're looking at a run down to the bottom. Remember, the curve is just a trend idea. It's just an idea that we are looking to change the trend, and it might have to get stretched out a bit farther over time because you're in a small time frame. But the idea is that you're seeing momentum change. You're going to start to see the higher highs and the higher lows. So at one point, we drop right down into this level, get a very quick pullback. Okay, so that lets me know that people are looking at this level. So I'm going to start to take this level seriously. We do push slightly below, but if you were to copy and paste your idea and pull it down to this other solid candle idea, you would see that we did pull down. And this level here is of another larger curve idea. So this little pullback through was okay, but then you get the breakout and the retest on our level. It runs up through into our top ideas. So now we're looking for that breakout and the retest of this level to make our next entry if we're not already in from this bottom entry. It most definitely breaks out, does a retest, runs up through these levels, then it forms another bullish pattern, okay? It's another falling wedge. It's another pattern. Okay, and then obviously we do a nice retest of this level, we break out of this pattern, and we run to our upper levels. As all of that's happening, we're forming this pattern. Okay, you get the majority of the touches here. You get the majority of the price action. You copy and paste it up to a higher point. You get some kind of a big push, and then you get your push down below. Now we're going to try to come up and run these levels again. We have to break through a few key levels here, right? Not only do we have to get above this local pattern, we have this level here that we have to break above. Okay, we have this bigger curve. And if we do all that, that will go into what we talked about last video about us getting up to these levels again. If we're going to get rejected here, we're looking at this falling wedge pattern. We're looking at coming down and pulling back to these levels. So right now we're watching that. Locally, as far as pattern trading goes, that's just a breakdown of how we are going to use the patterns as we go to change our ideas and to try to catch nice entries, take profits, all in, local levels. So if you're doing this on a small time frame, you have to consider the fact that you're only going to see a smaller push out of this pattern. You have to be willing to take profits on a small move. Nothing says you're going to push higher. That's never confirmed when you see a falling wedge, or when you see some type of a bullish pattern forming. You can make your entry either on the bottom or the retest, because you come down for a retest here. You don't always come down for a retest, but a lot of times you do, and it's a much safer entry. You see the volume come in and you get the run. But that doesn't mean you're going to run higher than you went last time. It just means you're in a big downtrend and you have to get some relief. So you're trying to catch a run to the upside, and you're on a small time frame, right? So you take your profits accordingly. If you're looking at a larger time frame, you can still find all these same patterns. But obviously, if you're looking at the daily, you're looking at the exact same move here. You've got this consolidation and a trend change. And then if we break down into the 3-minute time frame, that's the exact same thing that we had here. We have this consolidation and then a local trend change. And then that's going to happen again and again and again, back and forth, right? So if you're on the small time frames, you have to consider the fact that it's going to change back that much faster. All right, so I also brought up, and now this is, you can get this online. It's just a basic Forex pattern. It's just very basic patterns, okay? So we have continuation patterns, right? Our symmetrical triangles. And we have our flags, as you would call them, or a rectangle, just a straight box. You also have the curve version, which is like what you would actually call a flag or a small wedge. But usually your wedges are going to be more of a triangle. They're going to pinch down, okay? So copy and paste this chart off of the internet and study this thing, because you're going to see these patterns happen all throughout everything that we talk about. I mean, this is pretty common. Obviously, everybody is pretty common with this, even if they're not pattern traders. That's a pretty common thing, right? You might call it something different. You might call it like 3 touches. But essentially, all of these patterns are what I use to do all of my trading and have for some time. I take other things into account. Obviously, you don't just trade off of patterns. I use a combination of patterns, and Market Cipher is a great indicator to have to go along with those patterns to let me know if my ideas might be valid or not. I mean, if you don't have Market Cipher, you can pull up the RSI and the MACD, and you'll see how they can correlate with price action. The best thing you can do is back test. And if you don't know what backtesting is, you're basically just going through previous price action, and you're going to find these patterns and you're going to chart things out. You can actually go, if you have a paid version of TradingView, you can actually go back and replay time and just lay out patterns and practice things, right? But backtesting is a big deal because that's going to give you ideas on what things could do or how certain markets are going to respond. I mean, there's obviously something to this original pattern here, because the second time that we kind of formed something like that, we had the same result happen. We just looked at the flag. Okay, it's very clearly a flag. And if we go back and look at old history, old time history on anything, you're going to be able to backtest these exact same ideas. And you have a falling wedge. It's a bullish pattern. Any type of a rising pattern is going to, most likely, more than not, break to the downside. Any falling wedge pattern is going to consolidate and break up to the upside. So you're using that back testing history, and you're taking your new ideas and you're using your indicators to go along with it. Again, you're not just going to buy something because it's in a perfect pattern. It doesn't always work out. If you're in a downtrend and you're trying to trade a bullish pattern, it's not going to work out for you. But that's why it's important to understand your time frames. So again, we're on the daily right now. We'll clear this chart. It's due for a relook at. And we'll go down into even the 1 minute time frame. We are going to see the same basic patterns everywhere. The whole chart is falling wedge, rising wedge, falling wedge, rising wedge, consolidation. The whole chart. If you don't see a pattern, if it looks very strange, I mean, this was a tough one, right? This is what we had charted out before. And a lot of people were pretty frustrated trying to trade this day. But just drawing, simply going in here, say the 3 minute time frame even, simply going in here before any of this price action even existed and drawing a line from here to here. Before any of this even existed, we took a line from this close, this solid candle, to this one. And actually, it's a little farther down if you do it just right. Okay, so I mean, it's basically right on the bottom. Just by drawing a line from here to here, you get an entry for when you go to pull back down. Same thing with the top. If you really lock in on getting these first 2 points, you're going to notice a level. Now, I believe that we had this. And I was doing this. I believe that's how we had things. Or maybe down a little bit here, right? And before any of this existed, we drew these two rectangles. One was that when we hit the line down here, it was an entry. Now, obviously, we had it like this. And then all of this information formed. So we moved it down. We identified this curve. We broke out of it, did a bearish retest on it inside of the wedge. And I know this seems, there's no way this is possible. You're crazy. This is exactly what's happening on every chart, every single time frame. It's all patterns, everything. We're talking about bots and computers and algorithms trading all of this constantly. All right, that's why pattern trading is a thing. Now, again, you can't just trade off of the fact that you're in this pattern and assume that you're immediately going to get rejected and go down. But what you can do is use this trend idea to trade. For quite some time, it keeps pushing and pushing and pushing. It runs up to the top. If you wanted to know where that would be, or somewhere about where that would be, you could connect all of these points long before this point happens. Okay? You can draw this one simple line. That's a lot of people be like, well, what's the entry? Well, when we hit the top of this line, we're going to try to see if we can break through it or we're going to get rejected. So is it at 109? Is it at 110? I don't know. So I don't, that's why I don't come out and say, this is your buy price, this is your sell price. That's not exactly how it works, in my opinion. When the price action hits these levels, you're going to see a volume spike. And you can go back test this through everything. The last time that we saw a big pullback, we knew it was coming because of this pattern. When we bragged about our entry at 74, we knew it was coming because of this pattern. Now, we were looking at the entry on the double bottom down here. The other entry could have been this breakout and holding of the level, right? Okay, this is one of the trades that's in the thumbnail of the video. This is an actual trade setup that we gave out in the group. And we actually identified this pattern early enough that we were able, you could have caught this run on the way down as well. We identified this pattern well early in. We knew that this was a double top. This pattern. You can draw this pattern way back here. You can see it coming. You know, you're holding down at the bottom. It's a basic pattern that you see everywhere. But again, it could go a little farther than expected before you finally break down through and lose the level, which leads into another pattern and another pattern, right? And until proven otherwise, that's what all of crypto and stock market charts look like. All right, so the entire market can be literally summed up into basic, very basic technical analysis, very basic pattern trading. And this is just Bitcoin. I challenge you to go back test this on anything. Okay, so these patterns, these trends, they're very real. Again, nothing says this breaks down. It could very well break up. You could very well draw something quite similar in the other direction, though it's not as. I mean, it's more clear in the other direction, but you can also do this. You can run this on both sides, and that's how you get that I shape. Okay. And inside of this, what do you see? Okay, so are you entering here unless you plan on getting out? No, you should have been in down here. Are you entering here? Unless you're looking at, if you're zooming in to this, sure, maybe. Once you establish a pattern, you might trade this. You might trade this range for a while. But if you buy up here, you're now stuck until this pattern finally breaks out. Right? So you wait to see this consolidation happen. You wait for this to start happening until you see it, and then you consider an entry on a bullish move. You wait for this to happen. If you see this at the top of a trade that you're in, if you see this small distribution phase, you're probably going to consider leaving that trade, right? And then on the lower levels, on the reverse of that, if you're seeing something like this form at the bottom of a falling wedge, that's when you're going to become bullish. That's when you're going to change your idea. And then you're going to consolidate again. Okay, so you don't make trades in the mess. You wait for these key levels to get hit. You wait for these key levels to make an entry. And again, they're going to work on multiple time frames, but you have to consider what time frame you're in. All right, so dominance is going to do the exact same thing. And if you want to get a PDF file on dominance, please message me or join the Discord, even the free side. Shoot me a message. I'll send it to you. I also have two books that I will share with people about pattern trading, and I also have a book about emotions and how they're correlated to trading. Um, hey, Trade Intuition, thanks for stopping by, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'd be happy to share those with you guys. And now they're a little bit textbook, but there's a lot of really great reference points in there to kind of teach you about these patterns and show you historically why they work and how they can be a great tool to use with other things. Okay, so dominance, exact same thing with patterns. You're going to get the same up, down, reading them through the patterns. And the reason that this is important is because if you look at the dominance chart, I should have brought the PDF up for that one and explained that one a little bit. Um, but basically, there's different situations. Um, Altcoins are going to do less well depending on the action that you see in this chart. And then sometimes you're going to see actions happen in this chart. They're going to make altcoins do very well and go against Bitcoin. And there's a whole breakdown of the correlation of that. Again, join the Discord and I'll send you the PDF file for it. So when I go into my computer any day, the first thing I do, and that's what I shared in the group the other day, is I'm going to go on, I'm going to check out and see where Bitcoin dominance is at. And then I'm going to go into Bitcoin. I'm going to draw out my ideas and I'm going to wait for those levels to get hit. If those levels don't get hit, then I'm going to sit on my hands all day and wait for my levels to get hit. Um, Actually, it was kind of all around the same time. I built houses. I was a house framer and farmer and all of that great county stuff. And COVID happened, or well, it was kind of pre-COVID. That was all just starting to happen, and I switched to. I had been watching Bitcoin for a long time, but I finally actually threw some money on an exchange and started trading in 2017. And I kind of was super aggressive and what I would now call like a degenerate, very stupid, if you will. Um, I took $1,000 and did high leverage trading, and it worked because I caught the first bull run. All right, let's do this. I started trading here. I started my trading group way back in this dip, this little crazy China dippity do right here. This is when I started trading. I knew about crypto um, long before here. I had buddies that were buying Bitcoin and holding it, and I used to kind of think they were silly. They were always like the computer guys, like, yeah, I got some Bitcoin. I never really thought much of it. But yeah, I started paying attention when Bitcoin pushed up into the $3,000 area. I'm like, all right, these guys aren't crazy. And basically, I got into trading myself and then started my group on Telegram. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So, so when I first started trading, there was Tom Crown that was actually legit. When I started trading, there was a lot of it was like BitBoy and all the FUD and all that stuff. I can't think of his last. There's a Tyler S. He used to make fun videos back when I started trading. But yeah, I think Tom Crown was one of the only guys that was actually Crypto Face. Crypto Face definitely was doing his thing back then. I've had Market Cipher now for 7 or 8 years. So yeah, that was that was it really back then. Everybody else I didn't like, I didn't trust. I've never been one to like the social media and all of the crazy Twitter posts and X posts and all that stuff. I didn't really like the sketchiness of people pushing coins online for money. So no, it was a weird space. It's really cool now to see everybody online with good intention because it never used to be like that. I made a lot of mistakes when I started. I mean, I remember like the first actual cool trade that I had was T Fuel, and I was just throwing money at that point, and I caught actually let's look at T Fuel. I caught a crazy trade on T Fuel. Is it even a thing still? Oh, this is my first great trade ever. This is definitely not the chart or the whole time frame. This must be new on this exchange. Anyways, I'm not going to spend the time on it, but yeah, I caught a big run on T Fuel, made a whole bunch of money, put it all right back in, watched it all go right back down. I mean, it was such a stressful first year, and then I found a group, and what was his name? It's like Crypto Bitcoin Chris or something. Anyways, I paid like $5,000 to join this group, and he kind of became like a mentor for a couple of years, and I just went through everything that they offered and paid a lot of attention. I would sit up all night in this group. It had so many people in it, and that's all I did, right? And it took about a year, and I decided that I was going to start my own group, only be nicer because he kind of seemed Crypto Revolution. Yes, yes, yes. That place. He was a cool guy at first, and then all of a sudden I started to see that he was like a whale, just like pumping. They were bad. They were trying to get people to breakout trade. Like they would tell people to wait until levels got like way high, and then they would get them to breakout trade. And I realized that it was like a super bad space. So I started my own trading group and left. But yes, I went through all of that. You got the face there, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. Don't tell me you got stuck in that space too. But yeah, so seeing all of that, yeah, it was, there was a lot of great content to absorb, and the intention I think might have been good at one time, but I really started to feel like it was a pump group. I mean, they had 4 or 5 thousand people in there, and they'd be sharing tops, and I'd be in there, and they ended up kicking me out of the group because I was catching a little too much attention. And so I ended up getting pulled aside and booted from the group because I was sharing bottoms and they were playing out. And that's just not how they rolled. So I started my own little group through that group. Yeah, well, good on you. Because again, the intention might have been good at the start with that, but there was some whale games happening for sure. I guarantee you that man had a group that costs a lot more money, and that was like the second level of that group, and people were just getting conned into. They were just selling their bags off on all these poor guys, right? But yeah, so I've been here that long. If that answers your question, I've been through some crypto times. But now the plan, and again, I follow these patterns, I follow these ideas, I keep it simple. I don't pay attention to the FUD. I use the stop losses to my advantage, and I take my trades. If I'm spot trading, I don't usually. So if I'm spot trading, and I know a lot of people are against this, I will only spot trade legitimate projects. I do not gamble with crazy alts. A lot of these alts that are even on my charts right now are on there because of people in the group that want to do that. I will dollar cost average into my spot trading. And I will do that over an extended period of time. I'd call myself like a swing trader, I guess, is as far as I would take it. I'm looking at the 6 hour time frame and the daily time frame, and I'm looking for patterns. I'm looking for consolidation to get a run out of that. If I know I'm in an uptrend, then I'll go in there and scalp. Those guys would take the line and put it here, and be like, if you break this level, throw all your money at it and try to get 20%. When did I? My goodness, I think I joined that probably in 2017. Actually, you know what? I could use this is how much of a nerd I am. I can use the price of Bitcoin to tell you a much better time. I told the whole group that we were going to break 20K, and it started all this kerfuffle. Okay, so I left his group. Oh, let's identify what that pattern is here real quick. Oh, I might not be able to do that, can I? Come on. All right, there it is. Ha. Sorry, had to do it. So yeah, I would have left the group somewhere in like 2019, 2020. I don't know if it was up this high. I think we were still in this. I think it was here. I think it was this. We were in this. Yeah, I think we were in this. So sometime 2020, early 2020, I would have left. Maybe even before that. I don't know. No, Joe doesn't sound familiar to me at all. And again, it was nothing against what they were doing because I know that there were people making money, but it just yeah, it was not a good place in my opinion. It really gave crypto a bad name. I don't even know what happened to that guy. Yeah. Oh, so is he still doing his thing? I mean, kudos to him if he is, right? Respect the hustle. I don't know if anybody's into stocks, but Lucid Motors is looking pretty amazing right now. Definitely definitely scaling into Lucid Motors even for a mid run. Same thing though, just patterns, right? Pattern trading. Making these aggressive entries at the bottom of the pattern. I've actually been trading Lucid since back here, and it's been great. I mean, I got a little trapped here for a day or two, but when I hit this level, I just jumped in more and obviously got out. But I mean, I'm looking at this big volume spike. I'm looking at this overall volume growth and just progressing up while we've got this price action pinching and consolidating, right? So I'm looking for a nice move. That's how I caught this move. Um, this chart's all messed up now just because of the way that they've done the splits. But I caught this run. I shared this run in the group. At that point, it was worth a different dollar value. But we were looking at this crazy consolidation downward. And then we were looking at this at the time was making a move towards the up. So we were looking for this spike. And I don't know what this is going to look like now, but it was like 2,000% before the price split changed the chart. Yeah, no, it was a crazy run. It happened on yeah, I can't remember the day. It was like Liberation Day or something. But this spiked whatever April 25th. Yeah, look it up. It was a holiday, and we were expecting it, and I Yeah, it was an awesome run. But again, just technical analysis, right? Big downtrend, big giant downtrend. And it doesn't seem like much until you start to see that roll around happen. And then, you know, boom, you get this crazy run. And again, this chart looks all different now because of the split, but it was a nice run. Okay, all right. The beginner group, Trip, would always tell traders, uh, that's okay. So I remember Trip. I do remember Trip, 100%. And then, all right, I will say that one for sure. Uh, Shout out to Trade Intuition. He just said, pro tip, read the question, then answer for people that watch the replay. They'll know what you're asking. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for the what you're answering. Yes, thanks for the input, man. That's a really good thing to consider. I've been talking to myself the whole time, right? Anyone that watches this will not have a clue. Thank you. Yeah, I remember Trip. So Trip was heavily involved in getting me kicked out of the group. Heavily involved because he had his own trading group, and then I went to start my own little trading group, and he had like a little spy come into my trading group and then got me kicked out of the group because I was doing my trading group a little different and I was giving out the bottoms. So it was catching traction fast, and I got booted out of that group. Obviously, you weren't allowed to have your own group, right? But Trip did. He was charging like $150 an hour or something. But CBC, yeah, he would use my when I first got in there, I was new, right? So I'm like, oh yeah, this is great, and check this out. I'm doing all this stuff on futures now, and I'm learning all this stuff on futures, and I was trying to like talk to him about how he could like present his strategy different because by me buying the bottoms instead of the breakout trades that he was offering, I was doing so well. And all he would do is he would take my tickets and put them in his next video. He would not tell people my entry ideas on the bottom, which he obviously knew. I mean, don't get me wrong, these whales are buying the bottom of stuff. They know what they're doing. That was kind of my first experience with understanding the dark side of crypto and just realizing how much influence there was. There are groups out there that don't want the right information to get out there. They want to have like a monopoly of members, and it can be a sketchy situation for sure. Trip wanted to kick me out so many times, but couldn't because I had already worked my way up to the top. Then he had to go through me to get to Chris. And Trip hated that. Yeah, I bet he did. Yeah. That sounds, yeah. That sounds like Trip. I just thought it was amazing that he was so upset that I had a group and people were enjoying it, and he told on me. He told on me. Is he went and tugged on Dad's shoulder and was like, he hit me, or like he's got his own trading group and I don't like it. He told on himself, and then I don't know how it went down, but somehow Chris was okay with him having a group, but not me. So yeah, whatever. That's all in the past. That was years ago now. But I mean, I'll never forget how much I learned in that group. Just understanding how disgusting people can be. You know, kind of really was a great introduction to the world because it helped me understand how manipulated everyone and everything in this space is and can be. That's why I'm really grateful for some of these groups now, like, that come on every day and actually just try to help people not get destroyed. They're not like, oh, buy the top of this. They're like, hey, here's some ideas. Don't be stupid. I'm just a guy on YouTube. Please don't get yourself wrecked. It never used to be like that. It was like, sell everything you own and buy crypto because we're early and it's going to the moon. Like the term moon boy is gone. I don't even hear that anymore. But that used to be the mentality of the whole trading space, right? Was sell everything you have and listen to me. I will change your life. That was his motto, right? Life changing money, life changing money. He's like the car salesman of crypto. He's like the Better Call Saul of crypto. And he looks like Mad Child, so whatever. But yeah, I'll clip all these ideas and stuff today and I'll break everything down so that I can release like a refined version of this in the video section. Hey, thank you. Says I've been subbed for a while. First time watching live. Great stuff. Thanks, Trade Intuition. That means a lot. Um, I've never really done the online thing publicly before, and then it just seemed like a time to start doing. I have an 8-year-old son, and he's getting so smart so fast, and this was kind of like a challenge for me to quit being an old fart and kind of switch things up and get online and get learning. So I'm learning about the OBS and all of that, and kind of the whole social media side of things. I've always been behind closed doors, just doing my thing with the group. I think the most people I've ever had in my group at one time is like 35 people, and I just stopped letting people in because I was overwhelmed. I do one-on-ones, and so by the time I had 35 people in the group from all different time zones around the world, um, like I was up 3 a.m. having a chat with a gentleman from Australia, and then I'd have to catch a couple hours nap so I could get back up at a different time. It was a lot. Hey, no, not at all. Thanks for stopping by. Um, see you around. I'm sure. I think I'm sub to you, man. So I'll be on to check out everything you're doing too. So enjoy and have a great night. Cheers. Okay, so yeah, anyone that's still kicking around, I think we'll just do like a recap of everything we just went over locally here, and then I'll sum this video up and I'll see if I can break it down, edit a few things, and then I'm sure I'll add some parts to it as well. Because the idea of this video is to just break down the idea of pattern trading and how to add it to your arsenal of tools that you use to trade. It's not to make you convinced that pattern trading is the only way to trade. It's to show you how relevant it is and how great of a tool it can be, combined with something like Market Cipher, which is an amazing indicator, and you'll eventually start to see the correlation with everything. So the last thing that I threw in the group, again, we were looking at this curve idea up here. Again, we can clone that and pull it down, and it's going to line up with a lower level of stuff as well. So essentially, we're looking to hold these levels and break up to reject this idea. If we do a bearish retest on these levels, we're looking to push down. There are levels and everything on my other chart, but that's not the point of this. We're also going to consider this and this. We can clone our top and our bottom line. We can pull it down to a lower wick to give us a range of our pattern. And then again, basic entry idea on just the pattern. We can run an aggressive entry at a bottom idea, or we can wait for that kind of safety net. But I mean, I would say this is safer than this personally. And I will explain exactly why. Because what will happen is if you try the entry down here and you're wrong, you're going to get stopped out for a small amount. If you try the entry up here and it turns into a situation where the pattern just extends a little more and becomes a bigger wedge, you just got locked in at the top. So what you want to see is a nice breakout, a nice clean breakout, and then a pullback on that higher time frame. You don't want to go into like the 7-minute time frame and see a little tiny candle break out of here and close and be like, oh, I'm going to enter. You want to stick to the time frame that's according to your idea, and that's going to save you a lot of trouble. So if you're on the 4-hour time frame and you draw an idea from one spot to the other as the pattern, okay, and then on the 4-hour here, that's going to change a little bit, right? And the higher time frames are more likely to win, so you want to pay attention to that. What you want to see up here is a 4-hour candle go up above this level and close above the level. If you don't get a closing candle that matches your idea, there's a good chance you're going to fall back down through and get rejected. So as it sits locally, if we can't break this level, start riding up above this. I mean, obviously there's something here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rejections on this line. It's a real line. Traders are looking at it. Everybody's looking at it. This is going to be a real line if we hit the bottom. If we come back down, this is going to be whether it holds, and that's what you have to look for. When you get into a situation where you hit a level, you're going to see a pattern. Okay. And if you're unsure of whether or not you're looking at a bullish pattern or not, you can go on and search the Forex pattern chart or join the group. I'll send you the PDF file. But I mean, it literally shows you that it's an ascending triangle and it is a bullish pattern and it is most likely going to break in the upward direction. And as you see here in the actual example, that's exactly what happened, right? And you get basically the same thing happening here. Okay. Yes, there's some variance there on the 4-hour time frame, but if you go in to the smaller time frame, because you're looking at a smaller time frame pattern, you're going to see that it's a flat top across. That's a perfect example. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Come on. Perfect. You can't make this stuff up. All right, so you've got this triangle. All right, it's an ascending triangle. It gets a close above the line, one close above. It runs up, it comes down for a retest, and then it makes a move, okay? That is exactly what you're looking for. I didn't have to hunt very hard for it. It was just, you know, it was a few hours ago. All right, so that's what we're looking at locally now. We want to see a break above here, and then this idea becomes valid. We get the close above, then we got to decide, And what you'll often see is you'll get a break above and you'll form another pattern. And if that pattern that forms is a bullish pattern, you will see a breakout above it. If it's a bearish pattern, if you break out and start to form a rising wedge, okay, you're going to want to move this guy down a little bit and reconsider your idea. Another idea would be this support resistance, but you might just see a wick down to here. If you're in the rising wedge, you're going to want to wait for that to pull back and do that retest. Ideally, if you can get this bottom entry, by the time you make it up to that point, you won't care. That's why I'm always prone to go for the lower entry. If you get this, that's the best entry in my opinion, because you can stop yourself out sooner than later. By the time you get this, you're not concerned. You're in profits, your stop loss is pulled up. And then if you do get this, amazing. And if you don't get that, and instead you get something that, does this and extends this, you get stopped out in profits and you can reevaluate your idea. All you do is you move these down here. So the entry isn't a number that you just pick up and say, well, the last time it went to here, so that's exactly where it's going to go. That's something to consider along with your patterns, along with your indicators. So it's a combination of things, right? Okay, I'm going to leave this one here. I think that's probably a decent breakdown of my ideas. And again, I'll just add what I think I need to. So if you stop by today, thank you. I'll be back on, I guess tomorrow's Saturday. I'll be back on either tomorrow or Monday, and I will do the whole rundown of all of the coins like we usually do. I just wanted to come on today and talk a little bit more about my patterns and my ideas so that if you are watching my videos in the future, you'll know a little bit more about how I'm trading and why I'm trading that way, so that it doesn't seem, because I know a lot of people are pulling fibs all the time and they're using different indicators, which is amazing, but this is how I've done things for a long time and it's worked for me for a long time. So I'm sharing it. And it's not just me. I mean, a lot of successful people are pattern traders. So I haven't invented anything. It's a very common thing. And I think a lot of people can benefit from adding it to their tool belt. All right. Thanks for being here, guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. Let us grow. Peace.